This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
A federal high court in Abuja has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to investigate cases of electoral violence filed against state governors in the 2023 general elections. This includes acts of bribery, vote buying, and conspiracy. The judgment was granted to the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. Now, this order also compels INEC to swiftly prosecute all arrested offenders in the 2023 general elections who are in the custody of the police, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, as well as other law enforcement agencies. For more on this, I'm joined by Paul James. Mr. James is a Programs Manager, Elections at IAGA Africa. Good morning and welcome, Mr. James.
Good morning and thank you for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you on. Starting off, let's get your reaction to this judgment. What are your initial thoughts?
I think I had a mixed grill of feelings when I heard about the judgment because I wouldn't say it is coming rather too late, but perhaps these actions, even from the commission, some things that the commission may have done around the election, could also have encouraged this attitude because I thought some stakeholders had also raised concerns right from the moment of the elections. And then if you look through the instrument of the law now, the commission has until about 7 days to review actions during an election. But the commission is always, that's my assessment, in a hurry to just be done with an election and move on to the next phase of the election. So calling for those prosecutions may not be misplaced, but I'm just concerned that if you look at the individuals involved and the powers they wield at the moment, they could use the instruments of the state now to be able to either delay the process or be able to bail themselves out of the circumstance, out of the issue at hand. So the point is, whilst it is good that we keep an eye on the process and begin to spotlight all of these issues, I think, for me, prompt engagement of all those stakeholders involved, for me, will solve these issues going forward. But on the commission, on the part of the commission, I think it also needs to double its efforts in that regard. Always jumping ahead or giving the impression that we got the law to sort these issues, for me, does not go well for our electoral elections.
Pardon me. Let me ask you this. We've known for some time now that INEC has a capacity challenge when it comes to prosecuting these election cases, election violence-related cases. But it seems like capacity-wise, we don't have too much of a problem when it comes to contesting the outcome of elections when, candidates who feel aggrieved take the matter to court. If INEC has this capacity problem, is this judgment enough to actually make sure that they follow through?
Sometimes I think it's also to look at the jurisdiction of all of this. And it gets confusing when you go around some of our electoral issues. For instance, if you engage the security forces, they will tell you their hands are tied as it relates to the matters of election because INEC will have to prosecute. Or if we follow the electoral law or the guideline, INEC have to call the attention of security forces before they make an arrest. So I think for me, we need to just break some of those chains that are unnecessarily clogging the wheels of our elections. On the part of the commission, not also making excuses for them, like I keep saying. I think most times when you hear people say INEC is doing so much, the questions others will ask is, what then happened in the entire 4-year electoral cycle? At the moment, interest is concentrated on Edo and Ondo that will have elections in September and November. What happened to other 34 or thereabout states? How about the staff in the other states? Are we saying they also don't have the resources or the capacity to be able to follow through this? Now, I get also the argument, Commission will tell you that they had prosecuted more than 800 or so cases around the electoral cycle, and they need that to be taken off them. But that also doesn't stop the Commission from at least to continue to do in that regard until we find an amicable solution to that. There are calls for Electoral Offences Commission and all of that. Maybe this is also when we need to hasten up those processes to take off that responsibility from the Commission.
I mean, that begs the question of whether our lawmakers are ready to see that happen, because like you've noted, there's been a bill to set up a tribunal for electoral offences for quite some time now, and that bill continues to be overlooked when it comes to reforming the electoral process. But just very quickly, considering you noted how much time has passed between now and the general elections in 2023, this judgment says that any offenders who are in the custody of security agencies should be prosecuted. I wonder how that plays out, this delayed period. Is it delayed? Is it justice delayed? Is justice denied? Would you say that applies to this situation?
I think the first question to ask is even how many offenders are in the custody of the security forces at the moment. I am not sure there is one, because I think if you go through INEC's report, they tried 2023 general election report. They had mentioned that they had prosecuted some offenders. I wasn't sure if anybody is still apprehended or in the hands of the security forces. That is also the place to start. And then if you go back to begin to talk about prosecution, now a lot will also argue that Evidence Act, do you have the evidence and all of that? Are you able to pull witnesses to come and begin to talk about those issues? One of the biggest challenges in all of these processes for me is the fact that if you also look at how we deploy around the elections, the persons that are supposed to superintend this, even from the security agency, somebody is pulled from Gombe, for instance, to go to Adamawa to provide security for the election. Election is not, the person has returned to Gombe. If you want to start proving these cases, you may want to pull all of those witnesses. Do you also have the resources to start doing that? That's for me, I think timing is very, very important. Commitment also from all of the stakeholders to make this happen is equally important. Like I said earlier, the 7-day window that INEC has to review all of these cases, within those 7-day window, I thought we could also make some significant achievements and be able to, as much as we are drawing attention to all of these issues, I feel it will help to nip it in the bud.
Mr. James, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts on the conversation this morning. Paul James is Programs Manager Elections at Yaga Africa, speaking to me on a court judgment that has compelled the Independent National Electoral Commission to investigate cases of electoral violence which were filed against state governors and other officials at subnational level in the 2023 elections.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.